So Aaron Judge wins yet another AL MVP in what actually turned out to be a pretty close vote this season. The total number of votes was, I believe, 355 in favor of Aaron Judge in comparison to 335 in favor of Cal Raleigh. And in terms of the BBWAA votes, Aaron Judge also won these with a tally of 17 votes for Aaron Judge in comparison to 13 for Cal Raleigh on the other side of that one. So as far as both metrics go, this was a close race. Both of these guys had really, really good seasons. And, you know, in reflecting on this, you can make an easy argument for both of these guys to have easily won this award, which, you know, does make sense whenever you look at the kind of the vote results. In today's video, though, we are going to break down both sides. Why should both of these guys have, you know, won this award? And at the end, I am going to give you guys my opinion on who should have won the award. Did they make the right decision, or did Cal Raleigh get snubbed? So let's start with the winner, Aaron Judge. You know, whenever we're looking at Aaron Judge's case to win this award, it's not hard to find the reasons why he was, in the end, the actual winner. Whenever you break down the actual stats, apart from total home runs and total RBIs, Aaron Judge was pretty much by far the better hitter in comparison to Cal Raleigh. So let's go ahead and look at some of these numbers. His batting average was 331, which is ridiculous. He'd had 53 home runs, 114 RBIs. Like I said, those are the only two stats that he did actually fall short to Cal. When it comes to the on-base percentage, he was at a .457, which is also a ridiculous mark. His OPS was a 1.144, which is incredible, and his WRC plus was a 204. So whenever you look at all of these numbers, which are literally like video game numbers, and you'll see in comparison to Cal Raleigh's later on in the video, he is significantly better in most of these marks. To put it in perspective, I saw a stat that Aaron Judge is 104% better when it comes to hitting, and a lot of these hitting stats, in comparison to the average MLB hitter, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And just looking at that alone, I think you can understand why Aaron Judge did win another MVP award. And to add on top of that, Aaron Judge did have his injury this season, and because of that, he played a lot of DH for the Yankees. And to add on top of that, Aaron Judge did have his injury this season, so he played a lot of DH games for the Yankees. I think it was 56 games in total. But the crazy part is, looking at both of the major WAR calculators, he actually had a higher WAR in both of those standards in comparison to Cal Raleigh. So again, like, you're looking at the stats here, and it really is pretty obvious why most of the voters decided to go with Aaron Judge for another AL MVP. Now, swinging things over to the other side of the equation, we have Cal Raleigh. If you're looking at Cal's stats, he has the eye-popping 60 home runs. He has the leading 125 RBIs. And don't get me wrong, the rest of these stats are still really, really good in comparison to the rest of the league. But whenever you put them up against Aaron Judge's, they do fall a little bit short. Look, he's not the highest batting average guy. He hit for 247 batting average with an on-base percentage of 359. So not crazy marks there, but however, his OPS was way over league average with a .948, and his WRC plus was also at 161, so that's pretty good too. The thing you have to keep in mind with this award is it's more than just hitting. It's about the full player, the contribution he has to the team. It's obviously the most valuable player, not the most valuable hitter. There are other awards for that, obviously. And I think if you're arguing for Cal, you're just arguing that he meant more to the Mariners than Judge did to the Yankees this past season. And I think that's a fair argument. This guy was a day in and day out catcher for this team and barely missed any time. Fielding numbers, you know, there's different metrics for the catching position, some of which say that Cal Raleigh was not an incredible catcher, but some of which obviously still show that he is a very impactful, very good catcher for the Mariners. Now, I'm not going to get too in the weeds with those stats, but I think it's just clearly obvious that this guy was a huge impact for the Mariners, not only hitting the ball, but also playing the catcher position. You have to put things in perspective whenever you're making Cal's MVP case, and here's what I mean by that. We really will never see, or at least not for a long time, will we see another season by a catcher in the MLB like we just saw Cal Raleigh put up. If you know anything about catchers in the MLB, a lot of them really struggle to hit for power or really hit the ball consistently. And this is a trend we've seen for most of the last decade. But of course, Cal Raleigh steps in there and hits 60 home runs, which is absolutely absurd for any position, and 10 times more absurd for a catcher to be doing this, you know, after catching for his team on a daily basis. I think that has to be kept in mind whenever you're looking at, you know, this MVP race. And it's also a huge factor into, I think, why Cal was able to get so many votes, even though he did end up losing. When it comes to team performance, obviously the Mariners won their division for the first time in a while, and they went further into the playoffs this season than the Yankees did, making it to just about the World Series, obviously falling one game short against a very talented Toronto team. So I think that also has to play in Cal's favor a little bit, being the best player on a team that performed overall better than the Yankees did, especially in the postseason this year. So yeah, really these two candidates have two very different and also strong cases to win the MVP, and they both kind of come from different standpoints. If you look at just the stats, you can easily walk away and understand why Aaron Judge did win this award. But if you look at kind of the overall perspective and most valuable player, not just most valuable hitter, you can really make a pretty strong case into, you know, saying that Cal Raleigh should have won this award and he was in fact snubbed. So for my opinion, I truly do think that this award should have went to Cal Raleigh. And I know all you advanced baseball metric fans are going to go down in the comments and say, oh, look at Aaron Judge's slashing and look how effective he was even though he had an injury, this, that, and the other.